Good morning and welcome to our community affairs program that we call 30 Minutes. Today our special guest is Mr. Phillip Coleman from here in Obion County. It's always a pleasure to have Phillip on the program. You've been a guest several times.
3 or 4.
Yeah,
anyway,
3 or 4
like
times. It's always good to talk to him about music, the Nashville scene, and what he is doing. We like to know what songs are coming out of your head and your guitar.
Not much here lately, I can be honest with you. I've got other things going on, but I just had a song recorded here a while back by Aaron Lewis, who's of course the front man of the group Stained, and he's been doing several country albums for several years in a row now. And I hired a independent plug-in firm back in March to run with songs that I'd written, because I can't get in the doors up there no more. It's just odd how that works. And these 2 girls that have been in the plug-in business for a long time, and I've known them, and I called them up and I said, y'all want to take on another client? And they're like, we'll gladly run with your songs. And I said, well, I said, since moving home 5 years ago, I've been doing a lot of writing, and I said, I got about 32 songs that y'all can run with right now. And so I made it all happen, signed the contract, sent them the songs, and they got my name back out there again, because I started noticing those little things happening, and then finally they after the contract was up, they called me one day and said that Aaron had cut this song, and he played at UT Martin back in November, and I've never met him, and I called my girls. I said, well, he's playing in my backyard practically. Can you set up a meet and greet so I can, at least thank him for, recording the song? And that was cool to get to meet him. And the thing was, I was there, and I said, well, I can't wait to hear it. And he said, well, I think I can hook that up. And he sent one of his guys out to the bus to get a boom box thing that you run songs through, and he had it on his phone, and he played it for me. He played me several cuts off the record, and but I was pleased how it turned out with him. I liked how it went, how he did it. It's always cool to hear somebody how they perceive your song, and make it their own. So that album's out in June. And don't ask me about how to go get stuff anymore, because I don't know how that works with all this streaming, downloading thing as far as getting a whole album. And I even know I'm going to find out how you get paid now through that, because I've never, since all this has taken over, I haven't had anything recorded. It's been a while.
And that song that Aaron Lewis did was
Duct Tape and Baling Wire. Yeah. It's off the Loner's Harvest record that I made a few years ago, and that was kind of the reason I made that record for a gift for myself. I was leaving Nashville, and I'm like, I'm going to make a record myself of songs I like, and not worry about what anybody in Nashville thinks, because they don't worry about me anymore either way, I don't think. And I made that record, and that was one of my favorite songs on the record. As far as radio goes, I don't think it'd be anything radio would play, because it's such a long song. But I always heard it, and I even told Aaron, I said, I just always thought this would be a good song to end your concert on. Whoever recorded it, this would be a good song to go out on, because of the way the band plays out at the end of it. It's just a big jam session for the band at the end of it.
And that was your last album you came out with, too,
wasn't it? Right.
Loner's Harvest.
Yeah.
Was that it? That was in 23, 24? Something about 3 or 4 years ago, you said?
It was in 22, I think, when we finally got it done. Right. So it'll be, it'll be.
And you had some real musicians playing with you.
I did, man. Scott Mulvihill, who played on the record, who is a bass player and producer, and Ray Kennedy produced it. And when Scott was going to use a studio there in Nashville that this guy owns, and then he said, hey, man, I want to talk to Ray Kennedy about producing this. And I'm like, Ray Kennedy's a Grammy-winning producer. He's not going to fool with me, And then it was about a week later, Scott called me back and said, man, Ray's in. And I'm like, you're kidding me. He said, no, he loved your songwriting, so he wants to work with you on this. And so and I can honestly tell you, those 2 days of tracking that record were probably 2 of the happiest days of my life, because it was just fun. This was my project. I had a great band, that people that have toured with everybody and played with the major acts. They got them together to play on the Loner's Harvest record. Russ Paul played on it. Russ Paul has toured and played with everybody. He's even toured with Elton John, and he played on that record with me. And he was just to get him on it. When he told me that Russ Paul was going to play on it, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I had good musicians. I really did. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, it's a great album. I still listen to it to this day. I love it. And we played a couple of songs from it that we played here on the radio, probably still playing now. And people would call and they'd say, who is that? And we'd say, that's Phillip. They say, that is great.
Wow.
So, and you told me years ago about some of your songs. You say they have to marinate before somebody picks them up.
Yeah, I've had some. It's funny. The first song I ever got recorded in Nashville, it was written, demoed, recorded, released as a single, and died on the charts all in 9 months. And that was unheard of. And somebody goes, don't think that's how it works, because it doesn't. And they were right, because I mean, hell, the Ronnie Dunn song that got recorded, that thing sat around for 6 years. The Miranda Lambert song sat around for about 12 or 15 years before it got recorded. So, and when I did the Loner's Harvest record, it was just for fun for me to do and have, and just something I wanted to do. And I'm like, my hope is to put it out there into the world, and maybe somebody with a record deal will hear something off this record and want to record it. And that's kind of how that all happened with Aaron Lewis. So, and
it could still happen.
It could still happen. Yeah, I might get a call tomorrow and go, hey, so-and-so just recorded one of your songs. I've had that happen several times. Right. I had no idea they were even looking at it. And then you get, hey, they cut it. Okay, great.
And you said 6 years when Ronnie Dunn recorded Cost of Living.
Yeah, it was about 6 years.
6 years, and then you were Grammy-nominated with it.
Yeah, you never know.
So that one really marinated well.
That marinated good, yeah, it did. It did.
That was great. You got to meet him. You went to the writing barn and everything.
I've hung out with him a few times. I haven't seen him in years and years, and I think him and Kix are back together doing their thing, and they'd had a residency in Vegas for a while, but I hadn't spoke to him in years.
Yeah, and All Kinds of Kinds with Miranda Lambert. Right. That was a good song. That
of all songs I'd ever written. If you'd ever told me that would be on the radio one day, I was like, no way, it's just too out there. Right. It's just too strange. And but Miranda's the only person I think could have done that song. I really do.
She used it in the concerts and everything.
Right. She still plays it in concert, I think. Mm-hmm. She told me that that's one of my staple songs. I'll most likely always do that song in concert. So,
and you had a song on a huge Kenny Chesney album,
right? Years and Years, the No Shoes album, and you just never know.
You just don't know.
I mean, but that's one song when I wrote that. While writing it, I was aiming toward him, and I don't write toward anybody, but while writing it, and I thought this is a Kenny Chesney song. I think I'm writing here, and sure enough, it was. So I was right.
So you don't write a song with the intention of saying, "Hey, so and so can sing this song." You just write it to put out there.
Yeah, because I mean, you got no say so in it at all whatsoever. I mean, there's some people that do that are big enough that have more power than I do in Nashville as far as songwriters go. But
and we've talked about the political part of how this works also.
Oh, yeah. It's most anything, it's who you know.
Has it always been that way in Nashville?
I think it always has. It's just gotten worse and worse as the years go by. And now you got all this AI stuff and streaming, the track people, the co-writers that to me I don't consider them songwriters. They push a button and make a beat, and they get to call themselves songwriters. I don't agree with that at all. But I'm not the boss of Nashville, so things would be a lot different if I was the boss of Nashville.
And I got to go back to what you were talking about there. You said you had 32 songs. You've written 32 new ones since the Loner's Harvest album?
No, that was counting some of that.
That counts some of that.
Some of that album too, because I've been also off the radar in Nashville for a long time, so I've just been to myself writing and stuff. And I got the thing about writing by yourself like I usually did, and not being affiliated with anybody. I can take my time. And it might take me a month to write a song. And I don't care. If I'm only writing 2 lines a day, as long as they're the right 2 lines, I'm good with it. Because there's so many times I'd go into a co-write, and I'd even be writing with someone who was a big hit songwriter or a Hall of Fame songwriter, and I'd go, here's what I've got so far. Here's my idea. And then we would rush it just to have something at the end of the day, and I would leave there going, I don't like how this turned out. I think I should have sat on this and just took my time and finished it myself, and I'd be more satisfied with it. I don't co-write much at all. I think I've written maybe 2 co-writes in the past 6 years. That's it, 3 maybe. I just don't do it much. It's forced creativity, in my opinion.
Now, when Ronnie Dunn took your song, "The Cost of Living," he changed this a little bit.
Yeah.
Are you good with that?
No,
you're not good with that. But it gave him the opportunity to record.
Yeah, I mean, he was the one with the record deal, not me, and he wanted to say this instead of that, and I was in my early 40s, and I hadn't been that broke since I was probably 19. And I was like, well, you're the one that's got to sing it, so change it and do whatever. And that song did good for me, and like I said, got Grammy-nominated, and that's the song I'm known for in Nashville. Everybody's got a song that they were known for, and that's mine.
And had the video of Union City. A lot of people around Union City.
My mom and daddy was in it. A few of my friends that worked at Goodyear were in it.
Yeah.
So I got to come home and do that. That was a fun little day.
Yeah,
so
that worked out well. I had talked to Phillip, I guess 2 or 3 weeks ago, because everyone knows now about the effects and what's going on with artificial intelligence, or as everyone says now, AI. Right. And I had read some stories of how it was affecting songwriters who make a living in Nashville on a daily basis, of what artificial intelligence was doing. And it's amazing, because you read that it can make and produce a song and have it almost within the snap of a finger.
Right. And I didn't know this. There's people that were telling me, well, all you got to do is on AI is just like type in this type of song. I want to write a song about this, and just say a few things what you want in it, the type of music you want on it, the tempo, the type of singer you want on it, and it'll write you a song. And that was scary to me, because I'm like, well, how is a publisher going to know if you're turning in your song quotas that you wrote this or a computer wrote it? A few months back in summer, I called the girls that I'd hired to run with my songs, and I said, I want to come play y'all some new songs, just the guitar, because I don't want to spend money on demoing these if y'all don't think you can run with them, because it's expensive to get in the studio and do all that. And I played them this one song. It's like nothing I'd ever written. It was very up-tempo, pop, little bubblegum girl song, and they said, well, we need that now. They're looking now for someone. They named about 3 of these girl artists. I said, I just wrote this a week or so ago. I don't have it on computer. I don't have it down or nothing. It's in my head. And that's when they brought up AI. And I was like, and they're like, look, we can have this recorded by AI. You wrote it, but we can all you need is send us the song and type in the lyric, and it'll spit out this song. And I did that, and about 2 hours later, that song came back, and I was amazed at how good it sounded, but I was also scared. I was like, this is scary. This is going to put musicians and studios out of business. But it didn't cost me a dime, and usually I'm spending $1,500 a song in the studio.
So when you heard the end results of it, what did you think?
I couldn't get over how good it sounded and how real it sounded and how strong the vocals were on it. But I was scared. I was just like, this is unbelievable what I'm hearing here. And it's just, to me, it's scary. It really is. It's going to take over. And I even saw Dierks Bentley here a few months ago, something talking about, he said, it's harder now to be a songwriter now in Nashville than it's ever been because of AI now.
So it's affecting everybody.
It is.
Well, and even as you just said there, it's bound to be affecting those who are making a living being musicians there, correct?
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do if someone came to you and said, oh, hey, you can do this for, it's going to cost you $2,000, but this is going to cost you about $50. What are you going to do? I'm going to go with the $50 thing because it's saving me money. But like I said, a studio is expensive. Time you rent out a studio, pay the musicians, the studios that you have, the musicians you have in there, the producers, the mix, all of it. The cost mounts up. And that, like I said, I gave that to the girls that I hired, and they fed it into the computer, and that song popped out a couple hours later, and they were excited to go run with it, and I was excited for them to go running with it too, because it's like nothing I've ever written, but it sounds like a hit to me. For little 16, 17-year-old girls will love that song, I think. But is that the song I want to be known for? No, but I'll take it.
Let's listen to it.
Okay.
Walking back to my car, You Kiss made its debut, hit my head on a star. No one to blame but you. Your kisses make my feet leave the ground. kisses make my feet leave the ground. High in a sky so blue, no signs of coming down. Even if I wanted to, 'cause your kisses make my feet leave the ground.
So I would have to say that it is very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a big old hit, and the vocal on it,
And full production and
for
everything.
all of it, and that didn't cost me a red cent. It was a program that my girls had that were pitching my songs, and they just ran it through that, and that's what spit back out about 2 hours later.
I mean, it's out there to market then, you're saying.
Yeah, they're running with it. My contract's up with them, so I don't know if they're running with it anymore or not, because the contract's over, and I didn't feel the need to spend more money on 6 more months. I told him, I said, let me get another batch of songs written, and we'll pick back up in a few months or however down the road, and then you can run with these other new songs, and I'll pay it, because I had to pay him a fee, independent plugging, which that was the only way I knew to do it anymore, because me knocking on the doors now, people that used to let me in to play them stuff, they're not working in the business anymore. So I'm getting the doors open to me by a bunch of college interns asking me who I am. And who are you? I'm like, you know, and telling a 22-year-old, you know, and I don't know you, never heard of you, you know, and
Well, you know, George Jones said before he passed away, he said, I can walk down Broadway and nobody knows who I am now.
Yeah.
He said it jokingly, but he kind of meant that.
I knew I was in the Bluebird one night. I went there years ago to hear Carly Pearce. You know, Carly Pearce is a big star now, and I was supposed to write with her, and I went in there to hear her, and I walked. NSAI had bought Bluebird; it's a different ownership, and I walk in there, and this girl, she goes, "We don't have any room in here," and it's a small room, and I said, I'm here to hear Carly. I said, I'm writing with her in a few weeks, and I want to know what she's about, and the girl looked at me, and she goes, okay, you can stand right there, but you got to leave as soon as she's through playing. And it was the craziest thing. She did one song, and the girl kind of looked at me like, get out, you know, and I left, and I was at that point of like, do you know who I am? But I didn't want to say that. That sounds weird coming from me. And then there was a guy that works the sound in there, and he wasn't in there that night. I saw him a few weeks later and told him about that experience. I said, and he looked at me and laughed. He goes, they didn't know who Paul Overstreet was. He come in there one night, and they made him leave too. And Paul Overstreet, who is major, massive, big hit songwriter and artist himself. And I'm like, that's crazy that you didn't even know who Paul Overstreet was, and you told him to leave.
That's where it's become.
Yeah.
So, with this and the sound that came from this, I mean, are you going to get on board?
I'm not going to do it. Now, if I play a song for somebody and they go, well, we need that now, and I go, well, run it through AI and do it.
Right.
Yeah, because like I said, it's expensive. It's being that I'm not up there anymore. I mean, I could just sing a song into my phone and type the lyric into my phone and send it to them, and that's all they got to do. Then they run it through the thing, and then there's the demo is done. The funny thing is, before I left town, about 6 or 7 years ago, I had a meeting with a guy who was the head of Sony, and I knew him because I played softball with him for a lot of time, and he always knew who I was, and he'd let me come play him stuff. And one day I was trying to talk to him before I left town, because it was even before I did the Loner's Harvest record, and I was trying to just want him to hear some songs. And I called him. I said, well, I'll come to your office. He said, I don't have an office anymore. I don't have a job anymore. And I'm like, what? He said, I'll meet you at Starbucks over on something. So I meet him at Starbucks, and he's telling me about the tracking people, like I was talking about earlier, that push a button and make that noise there. They're getting to call themselves songwriters, and I think that's wrong. They're not a songwriter. You're not. And he said, I lost my job. He said, if I could stop planes from coming from L.A. to Nashville, people like that to come here, he goes, I'd do it. He said, if you can't play me a song on a guitar or a piano or something that you brought in here, I don't want to hear it. He said, but this is all this track stuff we're having to deal with. He goes, and I don't like it. So he goes, I lost my job. I noticed about 2 years ago, he has a new job. He hired a track person, And the boy's getting on cuts on all kind of records from pushing a button, and I guarantee Kent's loving it now because he's on fire now. He's peeped because he succumbed to what's going on. You either got to adapt or die. I mean, that was it. You got to adapt or die, and he's adapted now. He's back in the business, and he's ahead of something else now. And I ain't seen him since. I saw him a few years ago at a Titans game. He had seats behind me, a few rows up behind me, and I wanted to go, oh, now you're all on board with it now that you hired a track person and he's getting on all these records. You're down with it now. I didn't say that to him. I wanted to. I'm like, but like you said,
if that's the new wave, you got
to do it. You know, you got kids that are. He's got 2 girls, and I'm sure they're going to want to go to college one of these days. He's got to adapt or die. So he has adapted to it. Right. I'm always one of them old school. I'll be kicking against it till the day I die, I guess. But you got to get on board. You got to go along to get along, as they say. And so that's.
So people cruising into town, walking downtown with a guitar to see somebody, are those days over?
No, not so much, but it's different now. I mean, to me, you don't go to college to be a country singer. That's just foreign to me. Like I said, I don't want anything to do with it like that. But if like that song right there, if that takes what it took to get it cut, yeah, okay, let's do it.
If the check come in the mailbox, right. You would be happy.
I would be, yeah, yeah.
Well, so you're just going to keep on. Do you have a little studio at home?
I do not.
You just
people when I just added, I just built onto the house, and people go, "Oh, did you put a studio?" I'm like, no. Huh. I'm one of them that like that. This phone I got more bells and buttons on it that I'll ever use, and it's just. I know people that spend a lot of money on that, but a lot of people, I knew some people, songwriters that were making good money, and they needed a tax write-off, so they built a studio in their home, and they could write that off taxes. I think that's I know several of them that did that, right. Because they were making so good years ago, but it's a different story now.
You still have your barn, or did you tear the barn down?
I tore the barn down, and the barn was 120-something years old. I tore it down and I made it the ceiling of the new addition onto the house. It's my sports room. I got all my sports memorabilia hanging in it, and the big TV and all that. So
so you can strum in there and write.
I can strum in. I can sit anywhere in that house and write anywhere I want. So I do.
So what are you looking for in the future? Just keep pushing songs and making songs.
Keep writing and doing things. And I've had to I've tried to get a few people to come out and write. It's just they can't find the time, and it's 3 hours off. And I got this show coming up at Discovery Park in May 7th. And I always bring good songwriters with me. But as of right now, I'm not getting anybody. I've reached out, but the other thing is that we moved the date from April to May. And we happened to put it, I didn't think about this when I agreed to it, that's the Key West Songwriters Festival's going on that week. So a lot of people from Nashville will be going down to Key West and playing down there. And I think if somebody had their druthers, would you rather go to Union City play or go to Key West? I think they're going to pick Key West.
Would have to agree.
It's a lot of fun to go down there. I've done it 3 or 4 times, and you just get to see all your songwriting friends and hang with them, and you don't know who you're going to play with when you get down there. They'll just have a schedule, and like you with so-and-so and so-and-so. And I remember most every time I go down there and play, it was like, I don't even know these people I'm playing with. I've heard of them, but I don't know them.
Still have a good time.
I'll have a great time. Make good friends after playing with them, you know, and it's a fun time. I enjoy doing it, but it's kind of I haven't gone in a while because it's kind of, if you don't have anything on the charts, they don't really ask you to come down there. So it's been a while since I've been invited down.
I've seen your shows. I don't know if it's on your Facebook page you posted or something, some of your shows in Nashville, and they're really good. And the crowd, is sitting there. They're really receptive of it. That's
one thing about a writer's night, like the Bluebird and other places, they're real quiet about things like that. But the thing about Key West, it's not always that way. I forget one time, it was the first time I was playing down there, and the cost of living was on the charts. It had it'd been out a month or two. And we were playing at this outside venue where the first about just 3 rows of long, and those people are listening. 10 or 20, about 20 people, they're attentive, they're listening. They come, but the rest of the crowd, they're back there by the tiki bar, and you're just background noise for them drinking and having a good time. And we were about 2 rounds through, and it's still just like this one group of people in the front are listening. Nobody else is really paying much attention. And I started in on Cost of Living. I hit that lick, and that opened up, everything you know about me is written. And I watched all the people at the back, at the bar, shut up. And I noticed them all turning around, and they all got quiet.
Wow.
And I was in my head going, I got them now, man. They are paying attention now. And it was fun to watch about 60 people who were talking all of a sudden shut up and turn around and listen to you because they recognized the song. And after the show was over, I had people coming up to me because what they do down in Key West, they'll pull them boats down there, those luxury line, those people that are on Carnival cruises, and they'll stop at Key West and stay in Key West for like 6 hours. Well, this is a lot of people that came off that boat.
Wow. That
were in there listening. And after it was over, I had this one guy, he goes, man, you wrote that? I said, yeah. He goes, and he pointed out his uncle or something. He said, come here. And he goes, he hates country music. He goes, but he loves that song. He loves that song. And he, they were like, it's funny, that people, and I played that song at another outside venue, and this guy he goes, so you're the one that wrote that? I said, yeah. He goes, I was at Ronnie Dunn's house at CRS week when the radio people come in, because I'm a radio guy. He goes, and he played us that song, and he said we were just stunned how good it was, and we were all like, yeah, you need to put this out now. So anyway, it's just it's fun to be it's fun. I've enjoyed it, but I've also not enjoyed it at times. But like someone said, no one put a gun to your head and said go be a songwriter, Phillip. So.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna go back to the Loner's Harvest album. That album has some great music on it.
I appreciate it. I'm proud of it.
Still think I love sometime, someday, somebody's gonna pick something up.
I think so. They just haven't marinated long enough.
Phillip's favorite word about his music is marinating.
Yep.
But when it has marinated right, it has come through.
That's right.
That's what it takes. Hey, man, it's always good to talk to you. I'm glad you stopped by.
Yeah, I ran into you in the grocery store the other day, and we talked about doing this. Well, let's do it.
It's so good. Yeah, we talk music in the grocery store. Yeah. What a place to meet. Phillip Coleman, again, on our program. And, again, it's always a pleasure to have you. You come back anytime.
All right. Always enjoy it.
Thank you, buddy.
Bye.
And that concludes this week's 30 Minutes program. We hope you enjoyed today's show. And, of course, we invite you to tune in again next week at this same time as we bring you topics and information of importance to our community. From all of us here at Thunderbolt Broadcasting, until we meet again next week, I'm Charles Choate.
You've been listening to 30 Minutes, a community affairs program on Thunderbolt Radio. You can listen to this broadcast and others anytime by visiting thunderboltradio.com and following the Thunderbolt Radio and Digital YouTube page. Thanks for listening.